What's going on, everybody? It's Russell Clay here for another edition of Clay's Corner. I thought today a good topic would be the 2022 rookie draft. I know a lot of you are either in your fantasy playoffs for your dynasty league or you are out and thinking about what the next steps are for the off season for your dynasty league. And hey, some of you might just be wondering what your NFL team is looking at for next year's crop of NFL players. Luckily enough, in this article, Clay's Corner, I have my 2022 rookie rankings below. I have a rookie draft for both Superflex and 1QB right below this video. So definitely check that out. But today I'm just going to do a quick run through of the rankings. And, the rankings are there, but I haven't really made tiers yet. I haven't given projected draft position or how I feel about each position in the class. So I'm going to run through that quickly today and give you guys a little refresher, especially those who have not watched much college football this year. So let's get right into it. So let's go to last week's Clay's Corner. So we have our quarterback, running back, and wide receiver rankings, and we also have tight end. We'll look a little into that, but all right. So this year is not especially strong at any position. Some will want to make you think wide receiver is strong this year. I would argue it's one of the worst classes in a while. With that said, there will be some first round wide receivers, weak class for quarterback, weak class for running back. And there could be some decent tight ends, but nothing like Freiermuth and Pitts this year. So understood. This is not going to be a seismic activity rookie class like the past couple of years. We've been really spoiled. That's the first thing we need to know, right? How does this compare to other rookie classes? What are we doing with our rookie picks? So quarterback. I do think there will be 3 or 4 first round quarterbacks. I don't know that any of them are going to go number 1. Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett are the two I'm really honing in on as guys I think could play in year 1 of the NFL. Howell, a multi-year starter at North Carolina, and really came to fruition in 2020, 2019, 2021. He really showed out the last couple of years with some really exciting teammates, whether it's Josh Downs this year or Diami Brown and Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. The previous year, Howell's made it happen. So I really like what I've seen there. I'd say he's going to go in the 5 to 15 range of the NFL draft. And I'd say that's right around how I view him as a prospect. Sort of in that 2, I don't want to say Dwayne Haskins, but I like Dwayne Haskins. So I don't necessarily think that's an insult. But he is that first round quarterback caliber, a weak QB1 for a class, but a really solid quarterback prospect overall. And Pickett's basically the same evaluation. Really had a much better final season than any of his others. It was very surprising to see him emerge the way he did, but he is that pro style, sneaky athletic. I mean, we can joke about that. I'm curious what he tests out as athletically. And then we have Matt Corral and Malik Willis, which I'm not quite sure what to do with, but there is a chance they go in the first round. So we could see 4 first round quarterbacks. That's good for super flex rookie drafts. I think we're going to like those mid first round rookie picks with these first round quarterbacks pushing up the value of this position and maybe pushing down some of the running backs and wide receivers. So, I'd cut it here. I think that's where we're going to see a sharp decline. I like Brock Purdy, but he's probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick at this stage. Desmond Ritter, we'll see. I mean, in a crazy world, all 6 of these guys could go in the first round, but it is hard to project that, especially in a relatively weak year for the quarterback position. But, there's never a shortage of NFL teams looking for quarterback help. So you never know. But yeah, this is not an optimal year for quarterback. Nothing like Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Mac Jones, et cetera, et cetera. So running back, again, I think it's this top 4 here that's really the first tier. Kenneth Walker just declared last week. I think, some are really hyping him up as potentially a first-round pick. I don't see that, especially with his full body of work taking into account. I like what he did at Michigan State, but, if he stayed at Wake Forest, what would he be? Like a 5th-round pick. So I think we need to keep that in context. I'm projecting him currently as a 2nd or 3rd-round pick, sort of in that Zach Moss mold, but Power 5 Zach Moss. So I like him more than I liked Zach Moss, but kind of that archetype. We'll see what the NFL thinks of him. Isaiah Spiller, a guy that many came into the year very high on, didn't quite produce the way we'd want. Also was kind of in a committee with a bunch of different running backs there at Texas A&M. So, it's not a great class. I love Breece Hall. I think he is a guy we could see. He's like 75% of Jonathan Taylor is how I would describe him. Really like him as a 3-year, 2.5-year starter. Played really well the last 2 years, and I think he has a very bright NFL future. If there is a running back to covet in this class, I do believe it's him. Is there a running back to covet in this class? That's the question we have to think more about as we kind of evolve our stance on this running back class. Overall, I'd say this is a really, really weak class. Really weak. I really liked Kevin Harris coming into the year. Terrible production at South Carolina this year. Some of that is due to that offense, but terrible production for what my expectations were for him. Love Kennedy Brooks. Love what I saw once Caleb Williams got in there. But, he's a senior. I'm unclear how the NFL values his skill set. So, this is ugly, man. This is ugly. I like Kyron Williams too. He's played really well, but boy, this is a piece of work. This is not what we want. This is not what we call an optimal running back class for those that need those running backs. I might go try to snag the J.K. Dobbins, those 2020 rookies that got injured this year, the Cam Akers, the Travis Etienne from the past year. So all those guys crush everyone but Breece Hall in this class. So keep that in mind for running backs, because there are going to be guys who emerge and get that hype. But historically speaking, from prospect profile standpoint, from me watching games, sort of watching film, I don't see the hype that others are getting excited about. All right. So into the wide receiver class, I think there are things to get excited about here. I have not updated with Jameson Williams yet. And if he does declare, which I believe he will, I will slot him into the top probably 5 here ahead of his teammate John Mechie. But I really think it's a 4-horse race for wide receiver 1 in this class: Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, Justin Ross, and Chris Olavey. Again, I don't see the elite upside that I want to see with some of these. There's no Jamar Chase. There's no, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. I don't see that in this class. However, I do really like Garrett Wilson. I do really like Treylon Burks. I think they're both first-round quality draft picks. Justin Ross is a confusing one because he missed those 2 years with injuries, basically. I mean, he didn't miss 2019, but it didn't look like him, is what I would say. And, 2020, let's get this right, actually. What's the Justin Ross timeline here? So Justin Ross, after his freshman year, I thought he was going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick, if not top 5. After this year, after crushing Alabama in the playoff and crushing Notre Dame, I thought, okay, this is the guy. This is the one we're looking forward to in a couple of years. Missed 2020, had to play through a really crappy offensive infrastructure in 2021. And it just wasn't what we wanted to see for Justin Ross. However, I'm still very high on him. I still think he's worthy of a first round pick with the skills he's displayed, even if they were a couple years ago. I like to buy those guys, buy the dip on a guy who produced with some high-end wide receivers on his roster as a true freshman. Those are the types of guys I want to take a shot on. Think of the Juju Smith-Schusters of the world, producing at 18 years old, kind of falling off as their career goes along. But, ultimately very interested in him. Chris Olavey, people really like him. I like him, but I think Garrett Wilson is a better prospect. So that's just where I stand on that right now. We'll have to see athletic testing and how NFL teams feel, but that's my read currently. And then Drake London, John Mechie, I really like those guys too. I think from now on, we're going to get, in an average draft class, we're going to get, 3 to 4 first round wide receivers, 4 to 5 second round picks, and 3 to 4 third round picks at a minimum. I just think that's the way college football is built now. These teams are running out 3 to 4 to 5 wide receivers in these sets. And it's just so much opportunity for the wide receiver position. And so many teams need wide receiver in the NFL. And there's so many different roles to fill in NFL offenses at receiver. Drake London is totally different than a David Bell or a Jahan Dotson. They fill totally different roles. So, it's going to be another good year for wide receiver, just much weaker than last year and much weaker than the 2020 class is just what I would caution. Don't expect the CD Lamb and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase like right off the bat. I think this class could take a little more development than some of these other teams and players we've kind of seen come into the league the last couple years. So good class, not bad, not the worst we've seen, certainly more deep than say 2018. But at the top, it's definitely not the strongest of the last decade and probably one of the weakest if we're making that evaluation. So good players in the wide receiver class. I like Treylon Burks, but I don't think it is strong like we've seen in previous years. So just keep that in mind. George Pickens, probably a guy who could pull the DK Metcalf, not really produce in college, but get that second or third round pick if he does declare. So keep an eye out for him. He plays for Georgia, really special dude. And then, here we go. Tight end. I like Weidermeyer. I like Kolar. I like Dykes. I like Dolchich, but there's no Kyle Pitts here, and there won't be for another decade. So the Kyle Pitts thing, we had fun with that. We had fun with Pat Freiermuth. I would take both those guys significantly over anybody in this class. So just keep that in mind for tight end. Probably not going to be, we have 2 top 12 basically fantasy tight ends as rookies this year with Freiermuth and Pitts. That's not going to happen next year. I promise. All right, let's quickly go through it now. So 1 quarterback drafts, I think it's going to look a lot like this. Breece Hall, or you take your pick, Kyron Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker. Those guys are going to navigate the first round. I think we're going to see probably 7 in a row of wide receiver, unless someone's feeling a hankering for running back. But I just think we're going to see 3 to 4 first round wide receivers, if not 5. And I think they're all just going to go in a row. Bang, 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 bang in rookie drafts. And I'm totally okay with that. I think I have to update this actually. Justin Ross is no longer my wide receiver 1, but you get the point here. I think that huge tier of wide receivers is going to go all in a row. And if you're looking at 2022 one quarterback rookie drafts, hopefully you need receiver and not necessarily running back unless you have the 101. So, I'm fine with the running backs in the later first, but I have a feeling they're going to get pushed up to this range, and I just can't agree with that. I'm not going to take Kyron Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker over Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson. I just can't get behind that. That'd be like taking some of those running backs ahead of CeeDee Lamb the past couple years or something like that. I just can't get behind that. So that's that. And then super flex again, we're going to have some of these quarterbacks pushing down some of these wide receivers. So we're going to have another healthy year in the late first. If I can get Drake London, Dontario Drummond, or John Mechie, Jameson Williams in the late first, I'm going to be a happy fella. And you should as well, especially in that 104 to 107 range. If you're getting these wide receivers here, that is a huge win. Also another huge win. I think we could see quarterbacks drop to that mid to late first, as we do every year, maybe even early second for those first round quarterbacks. Scoop them up. We've seen it over and over again. Even if you get a Mitch Trubisky, you're getting multiple year starter. So, and best case, you get a Josh Allen that nobody wanted, or a Lamar Jackson that falls to the late first because he went late in the first round. So, all right, guys, I think that is what I wanted to cover for today, to give you a general range of what this 2022 rookie draft is going to look like. Hopefully this provided some information. If you like this video, please give this a like and subscribe on the YouTube page. Also, thanks for checking out the article. You guys rock. Fantasy season's almost over. So get ready for your dynasty drafts. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next week.